2 straight. Pittsburgh has scored under 20 points in 3 straight after scoring 20 or more in their first 10 games. But Ben Roethlisberger yesterday made it clear there's no reason to panic.
This team is special, and the season is not over. I want everyone out there to just to take a deep breath. I know it's kind of crazy right now, but just take a deep breath. We've got time. We have 3 weeks now to get it going, to turn it around, to give ourselves the best chance to reach our ultimate goal, which is winning a Super Bowl. If we were starting the postseason tomorrow, maybe there'd be a little bit more panic on our part.
All right, that's interesting. So, Dominique, let me come to you here. We sometimes play a game called Panic or Patience. So if I were to put the question to you basically that way with Pittsburgh, hearing what Ben just said, which way would you go?
Yeah, I know they're not much for panic at their franchise, but I'd be panicking if Super Bowl was their aspiration. So at one point, they had an explosive offense with explosive receivers, and now their issue is chronic drops. And as they get ready for the next episode, which is the playoffs, things just ain't the same for these gangsters. It feels like they are not in the same position that they once were in. So they got lucky early in the season, or not lucky, but they were fortunate to have a pretty easy schedule, one of the easiest in the league, and now they're leading into the tough part of their schedule, and they're losing players. So I don't feel as confident as I did at one point for them challenging the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Well, you will have them on Monday night, Lewis, so I'm sure you have been looking at the tape already this week. What does it show you? What are you seeing in the Steelers in their losing streak?
Yeah, what they need to be able to do is possess the ball longer, and they need to kind of put some drives together because they're going 3 and out and or turning the ball over at a really alarming clip right now, particularly over the past 2 weeks. That's just something that shows up over and over. And what that's going to do, that's putting so much mileage on their defense, and a defense that's going to wind up getting just tired as the season goes on because Pittsburgh can't possess the ball. One of the reasons that Dominique just alluded to, that they can't possess the ball, given that they throw it so much, is because people keep dropping it. And so those are the kind of things that, look, I know Ben is saying take a deep breath and let's just see how things play out here as they continue to work through some of their kinks and head on into the playoffs. They should be able to get going this week against a Cincinnati Bengal defense that is a little bit beat up. And, I mean, they're playing their hearts out, but they're just undermanned right now. But they need to put together a good performance starting this Monday night heading on into the playoffs. Otherwise, that panic meter is just going to keep swinging way, way, way in the wrong direction because it doesn't the past 2 weeks.
Lewis, let me ask you this. The drops have been one problem. Another has been they've just abandoned the running game. It's not that they aren't running it well. Yeah. It doesn't even feel like they're trying. Can they do that? Can they get away with that and win playoff games?
No, I think obviously you have to be balanced, especially when you're considering that you're going to be dealing with, more than likely, you're at some point in time, if you want to get to the Super Bowl, which is always their aspiration, you're going to have to deal with Kansas City. And when you deal with Kansas City, that means possessing the football. Possessing the football means either throwing it with a high level of efficiency, which means don't drop it, and they haven't proved they can't do that, or run the football, hopefully get 3.5, 4 yards per carry, and keep Patrick sitting over there on the sideline. Otherwise, you have no shot. So There's no question, Greeny, they need to commit to running it. But for coordinators to commit to running it, most times, they need to be successful doing it. So we'll see what happens.
Shefty, quickly, let me come to you. One of the factors, another one, has been just they've been decimated by injury. What is your sense in Pittsburgh right now?
Listen, the offensive line has struggled. As Lewis said, the running game has yet to get on track. The defense is missing Devin Bush, Bud Dupree. Even Robert Spillane, the man that stepped in to fill in, was out last week. Joe Hayden was out with concussion, missing a lot of key players on the defense side of the football at a time when the offense is struggling to run the football. A team that looked a month ago about as tough as any in all of the NFL suddenly has some holes and is leaking oil as we get towards the end of the season. Not an ideal scenario for Pittsburgh, but a get-right spot for Monday night in front of Louis Riddick.
That's exactly right, and I will also, a little later in this program, tell you why the definitive answer to this is patience, and I will tell you why as we continue. But coming up next, Bruce Arians has been publicly critical of Tom Brady on several occasions this year, but he's changed his tune of late. Listen to this yesterday as Arians came to Brady's defense regarding his play in Sunday's win over Minnesota.
I don't know why anybody's criticizing Tom. I mean, what he did at the end of the half and to start the second half is very, very few teams can score 17 points in a matter of 5 or 6 minutes. No matter if we don't make a first down on the first 2 third downs, I don't care if we finish the half with 17 points. I don't give a shit how we start. So I mean, yeah, he's not getting enough credit for what he's doing.
Well, that's a remarkable turn of events. So Shefty, let me start again with you. You reported over the weekend on Countdown about a golf take us through that, the Arians-Brady relationship and what we know of it.
Well, I know that we give this topic an awful lot of traction, but I'm just telling you what the people in the building say, and the people in the building there in Tampa are adamant that Tom and Bruce get along very well, and get along very well to the point where over the bye weekend, they had a tee time set up along with Rondé Barber and Clyde Christensen to play golf together. The NFL nixed the idea, which, again, Bruce Arians commented was kind of ridiculous in the sense that you could be on a practice field for a couple of hours with a player, you could be in meetings with a player, but you can't ride in separate golf carts on a golf course together. And so they couldn't get to play golf together as they wanted to and planned to during the bye weekend. And again, if you didn't like somebody, would you be playing golf with them during your free bye week? I mean, it's just a logical question.
I've played a lot of golf with people I can't stand, but that's a whole other topic for a whole other time. Let me come to you because the overriding point is a good one. We have spent so much time psychoanalyzing these two and this relationship and everything else. As we sit here with 3 weeks left in the season, Louis Riddick, how do you assess where the Buccaneers are right now and where they can be when the playoffs start?
Well, I think where they are right now is a team that, although Bruce says that they can do whatever the hell they want, I think that was exactly what he said as far as their identity is concerned. I think, yeah, they can try to do whatever they want. I think that they are, though, still trying to find their way as we head into late December and early January. And we know that what they need to do, we know that they need to be more balanced. We know that they need to let the offense run through the passing game to some degree. We know that they need to let Tom Brady attack the middle of the field and emphasize the short and intermediate passing game. When they do those things, this offense looks much more efficient. When it's bombs away and lots of drop back pass, 5-step drops, and just throwing the ball down the field, that's when they get into trouble. That's when Bruce starts making comments like Tom was getting confused reading coverages. Tom's not taking care of the football. That's when the extremes come, and that's when we start psychoanalyzing them. On the defensive side, look, this is a team that has a young secondary. That's all I'm going to say. You got to watch this secondary as they get into the playoffs and they play against the high-powered teams. You saw how they melted down against Kansas City. Todd Bowles has his work cut out for him against the better passing teams. So I think the book is still out. I think we got to see what this team is going to be because I don't really know.
You know, Dominique, they've been the most interesting team in the NFL basically since March, right? From the moment Tom Brady decided to go there. Now we're really getting to the time where the rubber meets the road. What do you see in them and where will they be a month from now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the inconsistency is a problem. They will not be in the championship game. It's not out of the question that they could win a playoff game or two, but I don't see them going to the Super Bowl. This team is far too inconsistent. And the question that Bruce received was about the team's identity. And it seems like when you say we can do whatever we want, suggests that you don't have one thing that you feel like you can hang your hat on. So I think Bruce Arians recognizes that right now is the time to build up the confidence of his team as they're heading into the final stretch and in the playoffs, and that's why he's saying what he's saying. But I think in an honest moment, he doesn't feel as confident as he wanted to this preseason when he brought in Tom Brady and they started bringing in all these star big-name players. I think he would have thought that he would feel a lot better about the playoffs right about now.
But that is the point you were making at our meeting this morning, was that the comments feel like a coach who's getting his team ready for the stretch run, right? That maybe we should not pay so much attention to it because they feel like a lot of things we hear a lot of coaches say in the beginning of December.
Absolutely. I think that one thing I like about Bruce Arians is it seems like he understands when he's talking to the media, it's not his job to give the media the sound bite that they want. It's his job to accomplish some sort of goal. And I think early in the season, his purpose was to bring Tom Brady down to the level of all his players and also kind of humble the team, break them down, if you will. And right now, we're in the build your team up phase. So I respect the way that Bruce Arians handles the media, and I respect what he's just done. Though I don't agree with him, I think it's the right thing to say and the right thing to do as you're heading into the playoffs.
Now, we're just getting rolling here. We have a lot more NFL news, and Shefty, let's run through a bunch of it here if we can as we run the hurry up. And let's start with Alex Smith. How's he?